Hi, guys. Welcome back to a brand new month and new chapter of Authentic Ambitions. If you're joining us for the first time, this is our Founders Deep Dive, where Ty and I basically go over last month's Spotlight feature, introduce you to this month's Spotlight feature, and then introduce you to a topic of the month, which basically delves into like the journeys behind the brands. So before we jump in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay connected because here we talk all things from the highs to the lows and everything in between. To start off, hi, I'm Starah Dixon, founder of Mitsu's, where statement home decor meets lifestyle design. We feature elevated, artisan-inspired pieces to make your home feel not only powerful, but personal and anything but ordinary. And now onto you, Ty.
Hi everyone, my name is Tysheda. I am the founder of Luxury Travels by Dreamy Designer Events, where we curate elevated experiences worldwide and craft intentional retreats for business owners and individuals looking to rediscover, reconnect, and return as the most aligned version of themselves. So, for those of you who are just tuning in, welcome to Authentic Ambitions, Inspiring Brands, and Bold Leaders. This platform was created not to just spotlight incredible founders and their stories, but to build a space where bold leaders like you can connect, network, and grow, and move with intention and community. It's about inspiring and also about impact and real conversations that push forward. And speaking of impact, if you missed our May spotlight, let me tell you, it was one you'll definitely want to catch. We
Mhm.
had the pleasure of featuring Akaya of Steep to Perfection, a founder who turned her love for tea into a powerful, purpose-driven brand. Her story of starting small and staying authentic while creating a customizable, flavor-rich tea experience is one that kind of resonates deeply with all of us and her audience. You can catch up on her full episode in the link in the description, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. That feature reminded me of why we do what we do and how many ways purpose shows up in the things that we build. Star and I love to introduce these type of founders. And what Akaya did is she took something that she was passionate about, something that's kind of been in her heart of hearts for years, even when she stopped completely and she kind of almost re-brought it back. She makes sure that no matter what you're doing at any time of any part of your life, it's never too late to do and follow what you're passionate about because there is somebody out there who needs it. And once they experience it, it's like none other. Star, let us know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, of course, because Akaya was really a very fun guest to have. And also, I loved that within the discussion, we were able to even like tap into the whole taking a moment to pause and like take in like the moment, and not having to rush and do the hustle thing. And I also even loved, the part where, I mean, you'd have to watch the episode to find out what we're talking about, but she got kidnapped. And I was like, stories I relate to.
That part,
So,
100%.
right? I'm like, here's a little cliffhanger. Trust me, that conversation was worth it. And you'll definitely take out a lot of gems. And yeah, thanks to Kai for that.
Exactly. And also too, she also really kind of honed in on knowing that, and again, you have to watch the episode, but
Mhm.
taking a leap of faith and a step
Yes.
when you kind of have a whole bunch of excuses in your brain of like why you can't do something and just going ahead and doing it. Not, you may not even know your plan, you may not even have everything you need, but just doing it and taking that step because that first step is the major one, but that also can be the first big step for the rest of your life.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that this would be great for also like, even though I don't think that she is, but like introverts who want to learn how they can navigate like the social scenes
Oh
and
my
things.
God, yes,
Right.
100%. Definitely, you need to catch the episode because it was
Yeah.
truly game changer.
Yes. And now for the new teaser. So this month, we're excited to spotlight Chef Joanne Thomas of Serenity Soul Corporation, a culinary force blending heart, heritage, and high flavor. So from soulful meals to global dining experiences, she's redefining what it means to serve with love and intention. Her journey from Chicago kitchens to international tables airs June 29 at 4 p.m. EST. I'm like, I'm CST. So, okay. So come grab your seat at the table because you won't want to miss this one.
Yes, yes. And thank you so much, Star. I cannot wait for you guys to see this month's spotlight. But before we dive in and talk about everything that we're about to, let's talk about something that I know so many of us struggle with, especially as women in business, leaders, and visionaries. We downplay our greatness way too much. We
Ooh.
minimize our milestones. We hide behind the humble, even when we move mountains.
Mhm.
So this month we're throwing all of that out the window. Our June Founders Deep Dive is called No More Humble Hiding. Your wins deserve a mic. And let me tell you, this is not just for clapping for yourself. It's about understanding that celebration is a form of leadership. Visibility isn't vanity, it's strategy, it's permission, and it's power. Whether you just launched your first product, booked a new client, or had the courage to pause and pivot, that matters. That's worth saying it out loud, no matter how you may feel. So let's get into it. And Star and I are going to unpack what it really means to own your shine, show up fully, and let people see the work you've been doing behind the scenes. It's your moment, and you don't need to shrink to fit in. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, like, even just off the bat, I think that this is something that I still very much so struggle with. So this is definitely still a work in progress for me because I find that I'm often one who I love to like put spotlights, and maybe it's the Cancerian in me, okay? But like I love to put like spotlights on everyone else, but like when it comes to me, I'm just like, ooh, okay, like I don't want to, like talk about it. And I feel like it's a little bit because maybe there is a piece of it where it is like I'm a little bit of shy of doing that, but also I find too that I really do enjoy like showcasing everyone else. And also I find that it's the easiest way for me to feel very free to do whatever I want to do. Whereas like success or, like not success, because we're not going to speaking negatives here. But I always feel like it's a way for me to like be able to just like not advertise it in a way. I don't know. Like I still have to like
No,
go through that.
I get what you're saying because I'm probably like in kind of like we talked about before. I was like, this topic is so important because
Yeah.
this is like the change in pivot that I am making accountability for to move forward because honestly, I am like the number one cheerleader for everybody. Like,
Right.
yeah, I'm like, wait, someone downplays it. I'm like, oh no, no, no. We need to celebrate this. Like, no, this is big. I don't care if you think it's small. Any step and something that's positive, something that is different, and something that you took a leap for, whether it's a certification, whether it's
Hmm.
booking a client, it could be just launching your social media for your business. It doesn't
Hmm.
even have to be big. That is something to celebrate. But when it comes to my own stuff, it's like I'll do so much and I'll be like, oh yeah, I did this. And then somebody be like, wait, you did that? I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
like, and it's just like, and then,
Same.
and then it's almost kind of just like, I'm so there to celebrate everyone else's thing where sometimes I don't even realize when things really like be happening and I'm just like talking casually in conversation. And they're like, oh my God, like you need to be really proud of that. And I'm just like, oh
Hmm.
yeah, it was nice and everything. And that man, they're like, no, you need to be proud because you did X, Y, and Z. And it's something that, and I don't know if it has some of it, I think it has a lot to do because I'm very more like, I'm celebrating everyone, but when it comes to myself, I think I'm also like a lot harder on myself. So sometimes
Absolutely.
it's because it's like in my head, I'm like, this is the goal I want. So since I'm not at this goal here, even though I'm taking little steps or some big steps, I'm not at that goal. So what am I celebrating?
Right.
But it's the small things that really help keep that momentum going. And it's also something that other people sometimes need to see because then they're just like, oh, wow, like, I had that same thing and I didn't think it was that big, but really that is a big milestone. That is
Mhm.
something to celebrate. And it can kind of give other people that extra push and think that they didn't think that what they did was that special, but they're like, oh, wait, no, this is actually special because I'm seeing other people do it and I'm seeing other people celebrate it. And sometimes you just never know. It may be that one thing that someone needs to see or
Yeah.
hear that can even change their perspective and things of that manner.
Yeah. And I feel like you touched on kind of like two things too, where the first one is that thing of giving yourself permission and also giving yourself grace, right? Because as you said, yes, we very much so are like the type of people that are very hard on like ourselves. Meanwhile, everyone else is like, but you did a lot. And even it could even be as small as just like not having a breakdown that day, or especially
Yeah.
not having a breakdown when something went very wrong. Like that is a win to like be, like celebrate within yourself.
Yes.
And I also feel like that's where we talk about it all the time, but like the importance of community comes in because yes, at times we may not vocally like celebrate ourselves like by ourselves, but there is something to always having like the trusted people inside of like your group, or whether it's networking, friends, family, things like that, where like they can be there to remind you like, hey, you did good today. Like, like give yourself that like little extra treat that you probably wanted, which that's also a problem I have because I will take every treat. But but it's still that thing of just like sitting back and just being able to say like, yes, I did this and I got very far and ahead. So,
Exactly. And
mhm.
also too, one of the things too, especially when everyone, even when it comes to like celebrating other people, but the power of visibility in your celebration goes like a long way. And
Mhm.
I say that too because it's almost acknowledging your wins publicly, but also because other people is all there's a ton of people and some people are going through something similar or something
Yeah.
different, and it builds not only a stronger brand for yourself but it also builds a stronger community, and them being like, oh wow, like this person is doing this and this is amazing, let me find out how they did this, let me try to see if I can talk to them to see what
Right.
can I do to get there.
Mhm.
Because at this again, it's like that saying where it's like you can walk alone but you can walk with a community and you can go so
Mhm.
much further. And that
Mhm.
is so important, especially in this day and age where there's so much noise. You almost kind of have to really be out there so that people can see and get the support that they really need.
Mhm. And I feel like to one of the things for sure for me at least I would say that like it is hard for me to do it in times, which is something that obviously I need to work on. And also, when we've talked to other founders too, I feel like everyone has had the same thing to say, where it's kind of like you want to be a little bit more on social media to like say everything that you've been doing, but there is that little piece of you that is a little nervous. And I mean, you can definitely tell me your thoughts on it too, but like I feel like for me, I've gone like my little disconnect is more of that like I for the most part like to like hear my sound in terms of like what I'm doing. I don't know if this will make sense. We could edit it out or maybe not, but anyway. But like there is that part where I feel like I don't want to be that person that when I post it online I'm only seeking only validation, and I feel like that might be at like it's a little slippery slope maybe, and so that's why instead of doing it I protect myself when, as you were saying, seeing a person's journey and seeing their wins and things like that can inspire another person. So it's like that's the journey that I feel like I'd have to
Yeah.
navigate.
And no, I think I hear what you're saying too. And I feel like, and to kind of almost play like devil's advocate, on the other scope of it is,
No, you're playing Thai advocate.
there you
Okay.
go, Thai
Yeah.
advocate. But on the other scope of it, it's almost kind of like it depends on the intention when trying to put
Really.
something out there. And honestly, I
Hmm.
feel like that's where it comes in. So, like, if I was to make a comment or make a post it's because I'm proud of something that I accomplished
Hmm.
and I wanted to be there, whether it's for my own validation, for me to keep track of my own journey, and also for some of whether it's clients or people who just follow so that they can see too. Part of that is not necessarily going there for the validation. Like I'm not putting it out there for the comments. I'm not
Yeah.
really putting it
Yeah.
out there for the likes. I'm
Hmm.
putting it out there more for that validation in terms of what I have, but also too, again, it goes to that you never know who's watching. Like I've had people who literally have came to me and was like, oh my gosh, like you inspired me X, Y, and Z, and I never knew, seen, or heard this person like a day in my life. Never had a talk with them, but it's because they've seen something that I had on the
Hmm.
internet. They liked the vibe, they liked my energy, and that's without them even knowing me.
Hmm.
And again, it goes back to I always tell people, it's all about who's watching because you just never know until someone brings it up to you and you're like, oh wow, or it's somebody like, oh, I really like that. That actually gave me the kind of push that I needed to start something or to do it because I was in my head and I was fearful of something. And then I realized, okay, well, I'm not the only one. What am I waiting for?
Yes.
So it's like one of those things where it's like celebrating, but also too, it's almost, especially for me, even when I hear other people and they reach out and things of that manner, it almost kind of makes me a little bit happy because I gave someone an extra motivation without even realizing, or I gave someone that extra push again without realizing it that
Hmm.
they needed or that was holding them back just because, I did something that I was proud of and they were able to see that and be like, okay, well, I understand that it's not always going to be an easy journey, but I got to start somewhere to get to, wherever I'm looking to go.
Yeah, I would say that that is key because I was speaking to someone, the name of the person escapes me, but where they too were saying, and they helped me reframe the way that I look at it into that, where it's kind of like you're not necessarily doing it for others, but you're more so doing it so that you can actually have like a stamp of your journey. And yeah, like for the most part, I don't feel that, just to clarify, and I feel like it's a given, but I don't think that everyone who always like puts out their thing is only seeking validation. What I'm saying is just that like I can see how there is the slope of like,
Yeah,
let's say like one day you have like 5 likes, let's say like that, right? And then the next day you have 0, you're kind of like, wait a second, like what is, so that's more of what I was referring to. But yeah, like I do agree as far as like making it kind of like your keepsake book, the way for you to see your progress. And I do agree too that even what's funny is that like you're usually leaving a carbon footprint whenever it comes to this.
hmm
And I have had like literally like to my emails like up to now like moments where even though as I previously stated my first business Health Hires was on pause, but like I have received emails even about that where it's kind of like, oh yeah, but oh, do you have a job? And I'm like, this isn't, like not right now. Basically. So it's like, so it goes back to what you were saying is you never know when someone is seeing something. And even if something does not take off at that moment, there is going to be a time where someone's going to be able to like retrieve, your information and just be like, oh, cool. Like whatever they're working on or whatever they're doing is a really dope thing. Let me reach out.
exactly.
So one of my questions for you, well, that maybe we can like dive into is what can be like different things that we do so that we can shout our successes.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways and people do them all different ways. A lot of the times that will, and I say that I'm going to do it because I periodically do it, not as much as
Girl,
I like.
right.
I always talk about, oh, I want to do this, and then yeah, and then everyone's like, oh my God, like I didn't see it. What happened? I was like, you see what happened was. But so one of the things that I really like is when I like to celebrate per se or to like put a win out there, things of that manner, I like it to be a little bit more meaningful. So my
Mhm.
reflection of my celebrations is not just, oh, okay, guys, like this is what happened. No, it's more so what it means to me to hit this milestone and what it may be like a struggle for me in the beginning before I reach there. So to kind of give an example, which I haven't done it yet, but it is one of the things I want to do
Fair.
is
Yeah.
in terms of like when I started this YouTube channel last summer, it was like one of the hardest things. Now, mind you, like I've talked to people one on one, I've stood on
Mhm.
stages, I've talked into a whole community of people, no problem at all. people to people. Starting this thing and trying to get out of my head was like a whole nother world.
Mhm.
So, and now to do that and to see that like the last update that they gave was like almost 19,000 views since I've started the channel is like, wow, like that's amazing considering the fact that it took me a long time to start it to the point where I was like, at a certain point, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to do this. I was like, because
Mhm.
I've been like pressing record and stop so many times. I think I'm just going to go back into what I know. But again, it goes back to one of our other videos we had where it's like stepping outside of your comfort zone is something so important. And that's how you grow. Not only grow for your own personal sake, but also grow for your community, for your audience, and also for growth in life itself.
Yeah.
So having those things, and like I said, and it doesn't have to be like a mass thing. Like you can put something up there, whether it's Instagram or TikTok. Not too fluent in TikTok, but I know Starah is. So, so regardless of what channel it is, even if it's a newsletter or whatever, it's just something that you're proud of. That
Yeah.
you also like. I know I like it when I see like the different newsletters from people who I follow, and they say something. I'm like, oh my god, wow, that's amazing. My first thing is, how did you do that? How
Yeah.
like how that, and then also to hear their stories because some of those same mindsets, some of the same things that kind of held them back are things that I've thought about the same thing. And I'm over here just like, well, okay, I must be the only one because these people are out here and they're killing it and they're doing these
Mhm.
amazing
Mhm.
things. It must be me. And then when you hear people's stories, you're like, wow, you're like, actually, no, they had the same thing, but they went through these hurdles to get there. And it almost gives me like, oh, well, shoot, if they did it and they over here, what's holding
Right.
me back?
Right. Right.
What about you? What are your thoughts?
No, like I feel like you tapped on something that, yes, I definitely do want to go into, which is you can basically show up for yourself and also just like announce your wins in different formats. Just as you said, whether it be from newsletters or just like talking to like people around you, just to, I've already said that I love bothering my family and my friends. So like it's one of my self-care things. But but just being like, oh my god, this is something great that happened today. Or even just one of my favorite things is actually like writing things down. And I would say that like every year I have a kind of like two journals ish. So the first one is my bingo card, where it's kind of like the things that I want to hit throughout the year, and so I try to like mark them off. And the other one is just it's kind of like a journal that I'll just write certain things that happened on the positive end, that happened by month. This way I can always go back to it and always like see and really see how far I've like come from like the initial thing, and also see how much further I have to go. I do, and like I said before, I do love like the newsletter idea because it also keeps people at the forefront of all of your progresses, especially for businesses who are also looking to get like investments and things like that. So like just to be able to like update people, this is the progress that I'm at with my business, or this is what's new for me this month. This is the pivot that I did. This is why I did the pivot. Like it's like things like that can be at the forefront of people. And just like you, I definitely do have to work on that.
Yeah.
Oh, I did want to announce something too, because like while we were talking about TikTok, that is going to be my next thing that I'm going to,
Yes.
yeah. So we're gonna stay tuned to that. But
Yes. And take you along that journey.
yeah, like and hear me being like, I'm still scared, but like doing it.
And I think also, like, I feel like what you've been touching on is also very important because it actually brings up the next part of what I was going to say, which is almost shifting the mindset from modesty to motivation.
Yeah.
Because the mindset, especially for a lot of us, is a big thing because depending on everyone's grew up a different type of way, but a lot of times, sometimes you have people who are like cheering you on and
Mhm.
they see a lot of what you're doing before you even see it.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the community who you have around you. And it also shifts the mindset from when you're announcing wins or when you're putting things out there, regardless of whether it's video form, in words, emails, social media. Instead of shifting it from thinking like, you're bragging about it, it's more about seeing celebration, the powerful of where you've been, the motivation behind it in terms of what you've done and what someone else can do at the same time. And the audience, clients, and community sees all of that and your progress along the way at the same time.
And also, I just want to add in, why not brag? Like it could literally just be as simple as, no, I am stunting all of you people. Like in terms of more so, I think that that also helps out like the people who, for example, because we've had conversations with enough people who have said that like, oh, they, like they didn't receive all of the support that they wanted to. Well, there's your like playground to do it, Like again, we're still speaking from inexperience, but no, I'm kidding. but really though, it is like, why not just brag? Why not just be like, yeah, no, I got myself here, or I did this, and this is how amazing that I am. So I do
Exactly.
feel like that is a journey to go on.
And I also wanted to say real quick is
Mhm,
too, also just remember that what you're proud about and what happens, it's within you, and it's great to put it out there, things of that manner, but just remember you never know who's watching, so try not to look at the likes and the comments. Like,
mhm.
I have a lot of the people who have emailed me, called, or a lot of my clients, they they've never commented or any of
Yep.
my things, but they was like, oh yeah, I seen that thing from 2 months ago, and I'm over
Yeah.
here just like, and I'm over here like, what are you talking about? I'm looking at it. This one probably got like 5 likes. And I was like,
Yeah.
but so you never know who's watching. That's really the thing. Like, you're putting it out there because you're proud, you're amazing, you're awesome,
Yeah.
and
And you
you
deserve
want.
to be like, I did it.
Exactly. And that's 100%. But again, you never know who is hearing your message. You
Mhm.
never know who's seeing it. And the person who is seeing it and it is touching, it may be someone who never even interacted with your post, but they will remember you. They're either going to schedule an appointment, call you, email you, or whatever, because whatever you're doing, it touched them. And even if it's something that also just helped them get better in their life, that goes a long way without saying anyway.
And I will say too, the kinds of thing with social media has been that, for example, on my personal page, the times when I first started to like be like, oh, I'm not going to be able to post all the time. I did have people like checking on me like, hey, you okay? Because again, as you were saying, like people are
Yes.
watching and you're just like doing your thing for yourself or doing your thing to put it out into the ether. And meanwhile, like there are those people that, yes, like the silent non-commenters, or like the members of your silent community where like we'll have, for example, a whole bunch of people view this video and maybe not necessarily right, but they're still supporting, and just
Exactly.
by like the views, it's like things like that. And I would say too that you are right in terms of the cons of it, where it comes to not celebrating yourself because you're taking away from a lot of your accomplishments. Like if, for example, different, as we were saying, conversations that we have had even on the stage or different events we've gone to, and just like not putting it out, it's also problematic because you earned that. Like for example, we've earned some of like our speaking engagements. We've earned some of these network, well, not some, but you know what I mean,
Yes.
like we've earned our networking opportunities
Yes.
and things like that, and it's taking away from that. So I guess there is a piece of it where it comes to like navigating and not downplaying yourself and not making yourself like seem either small or just non-existent.
Yes. And I was
So
actually just about to say that too, the whole downplaying it thing, because
mhm.
that and I'm telling from experience because I'm like, because it's like, so it's so, and it's crazy because again, like, I am the biggest cheerleader. Like, I'm the one that got a whole sign and being like, yo,
Yeah,
I know that person, yo,
yeah,
you did this. But
yeah,
and then when it comes to me, other people are just like, oh my God, like X, Y, and Z. And then I'm just like, yeah.
yeah, yeah, right.
Literally, no, like, hands out. And the thing about it is when I do take some of those moments and I do show up and I do put them out there, and then the people who reach out and they're like, "Oh my God, that's so inspiring," or "Oh, that's amazing." Like, it really motivated me when I was feeling kind of down or feeling things of that
Yes,
manner, and it
especially.
it really changed the mindset. And it's actually funny because either the other day I was talking to one of my clients and she was just like, honestly, basically she was like, I literally just want to call you when I'm having a bad day because your personality makes me just be happier and want me to
Mhm.
like do more and things of that manner. And it was just me like talking regular. Like I wasn't doing nothing special. I was just like me being me.
Mhm.
But it was just like that's and it was just that in the emails and being like, oh my God, like I seen that was amazing. I'm about to go and do X, Y, and Z
Mhm.
because you motivated me. And all I did was put out there something I was proud about and something that I
Mhm.
felt amazing because I can't believe I was here and I did this and it touched someone without me even realizing it. And that's something that we need a lot more of nowadays
Yeah.
to really get people in better headspace, better mindsets, and also change that mindset from not celebrating, not bragging, because you're amazing. Even when you don't think something you're doing, it may be something small. There is no such thing as a small win. A win is a
Mhm.
win. You
Mhm.
win, you deserved it, you accomplished it, and you should be proud about it.
Yeah, and it's funny because it really is one of those things where when I see someone else do it, I really will champion. And also,
Yep.
even for example, on social media, one of my favorite little things is when I see someone with what I can virtually like visually see is like low views or low like comments, I will be the one commenting and because I'm like, yes, I'm proud of you for putting yourself out there. Meanwhile, I'm over here just like texting on the back end. So, but yeah, and also too, like even when it comes to for you, it's definitely like a lot of your clients in the travel space. And for me, it also is in sales too, even with Mitsu's, where I still remember that month where I really was not like advertising, doing anything. And out of nowhere, I was like getting sales and I was just like, I don't, I don't get it, but let's do it. You know what I mean? Because it
Exactly.
is
Yes.
because as you were saying, you're posting yourself and putting yourself out there so that people can know that you even exist, you
Yes.
know, and then from there they'll take their time, especially if they're interested in whatever you have to offer, whether it's your personality, business, like whatever the case may be, to go from seeing you on like socials or like on the interwebs and then going over to wherever your platform you're accessible in. So I definitely feel like that is something that is very important. And
Yes.
I also feel like too, just as women, we're not always placed inside of a society where it's like talk your crap, you know. And I was going to say some other words, but like we know what I'm saying. Like we're usually taught humility and just being kind. Meanwhile, you see some people and some genders just being able to like do whatever the hell they want and like do it loud, and you're like, honestly, hell
Yes,
yeah. Like,
exactly. And honestly, I agree with that. And it's 2 points really that like you really spoke about. One is being out there and building the trust in people. And we talked about that one of our other roles. And people want to service, people want to buy from companies they trust, people that they trust, and being out there gives them that validation. And it also gives them validation that you work hard for everything you're doing. It's not something that
mhm,
you take lightly. It's not something that you're outsourcing to someone else to do and it's just like a
mhm,
third company ran in another country. Like no, you're front of the line. You're making sure things are done to your expertise, making sure your team's handling it to 100%. And that's regardless of
mhm.
whether it's a service or a product based company.
Yeah.
But the second thing you also said, which was also very important too, in terms of as females and as women, we are the main, we do a lot. Like we'll do a lot
Mhm.
and not ask for a single thing. We'll do
Oh,
a lot naturally, and that's like
yeah.
naturally our thing. So when we get so much done, to us, we're like, oh, we need to do more. We need to do more
Yeah.
before we're trying to celebrate, not thinking about, wait, hold up. I just did this. I got here. I accomplished all this. I built this entire thing. And I'm over here talking about, oh, wait, I can't celebrate until I get more. When other people, they may be out there and it may be the smallest of the smallest thing. And they out there already celebrating. Like, why can't we do the same? And I think it goes back to that mindset thing. It goes
Mhm.
back to changing up the game and making sure that you celebrate it and you're celebrating also so that other people know they can celebrate the same way. I
Yep.
want you to celebrate celebrate. I want you
Yes.
to be happy for any type of win. There is no such thing as a small win. You winning at something, you accomplish something, that's an accomplishment. You need to celebrate it so that you know that you are everything and more, and then you're only leading by example and building a leadership that you're proud of and a
Yeah.
legacy at the same time.
Yeah. And again, as we were saying before, it could be whether big, small, or indifferent. Like, as far as I'm concerned, you could even post that, like, you got a Starbucks today or something like that. And I'll be
Listen,
like, you know what?
hello.
Heck yeah.
I'll be
You know what?
like,
Say,
celebrate.
you know,
Let's do some fire. Yes.
yes. Like, you
Like
like
talking about,
fire
I wish
emoji,
I had
fire
some
emoji.
Starbucks too. That is a win because I ain't got no Starbucks right now. I need to go out and get me a
Like,
Starbucks.
I'm happy for you. You do your thing.
Exactly. And on top of that too, it could also be something like that that really just brightens someone's day up too, because
Mhm.
that sometimes when you're busy and you're so busy of trying to work and work and work, you don't realize some of those small things, the small like special things that you do or you get that makes you happy. It kind of gets to the back burner because you're so busy trying to work and do things. So when you see something like that, I see Starbucks, I'm like, hold up. I haven't had Starbucks in a minute and I want to
See?
Starbucks. I was like, hold up. Let
Yeah.
me pause and let me take some
Yeah.
me time and get me something that I like.
Yeah. And watch us over here follow.
Yeah.
Just because of that.
Exactly.
Like, you know
Exactly.
what? Yeah. Like, you're
I'm
reminding
like,
me of
hold
the
up.
finer things
I'm a
in life.
like, follow, and be like, oh, that's a great idea. I'm about to go
Yes.
get me.
And like you said, fire emoji.
Exactly. Like, because I would be the one being like, yes, listen, like, we go all celebrate.
Yeah, and that's one thing too, like that at least like we can acknowledge and admire that within other people, even with knowing that it is something that we would have to do ourselves too. And I feel like you elongating what we were saying before about, yeah, like as women, we're really taught to nurture and take care of everything, and we really don't give ourselves a lot of the credit that we definitely
No.
deserve, you know, because like for us it's more such second nature, but like we can acknowledge it in another person because
Yeah.
that would be like our caring side to
Yes,
do for
100%.
someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And okay, so here is one of my questions. Maybe that we can like dive deeply into. Oh yeah, actually no. Yeah. So what do you think is like one of the real fears behind being too loud about like your wins?
Well, I probably would say prior, like probably a few years ago, my biggest fear, and I don't know if it really was a fear, but it was just me talking too much about accomplishments or things that I did would come off bragging, and not come off bragging in terms of like, oh, I'm great, just bragging in terms of like, who cares about like what I've accomplished? Who cares about like
Yeah.
special things that has happened? Like, yeah, they may be seen special to me, but who cares? But the other side of that, which I have been like probably like my worst, I don't know, my worst critic, I probably would say, is my accomplishments never seem big
I know where
enough
you're
to
going.
celebrate, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. So
Yes.
it's almost kind of like, oh, I may come now, I may tell somebody, and they're like, oh my God. And I'm over here just like, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they're like, you did that. And in my head, I'm just like, but I'm still here. Like, I'm not over here where I want to be. And I've hit in like a roadblock and I hit this and this. And like in years ago, it took, and again, it goes back to what you said, it takes community, it takes support, because I got to the point where I was just like, hold up. I have done this. I do this. So then I started slowly celebrating them, like slowly, not maybe
Yeah.
as out loud as I probably want to do. But when I started, and when I say started, I mean like once every so many possible months, I will put
Girl.
it in my newsletter
Okay.
and
Yeah.
I'll put it out there. And then somebody will reach out and it's like, oh my God, like this is amazing. Like, how did you do this? How can I get here? Like, what do I X, Y, and Z? Then I would put it on social media and I would get the same response and people messaging me. And then I was starting to realize, I'm like, oh, okay, well, like, oh, people, like people are like, responding. And even
Yeah.
if people don't respond,
That
I
you
don't
can see.
really take it as anything because I'm proud about what I accomplished. And the same way I'll be proud about what someone else accomplished, because let's be honest, we're
Mhm.
all busy. Sometimes people don't get on social media. I know I don't. Like, I'm
I
like,
sure
I'll
don't.
be coming there
I took the
and
time.
sometimes I have so many notifications, they can't even tell me the number. They say 20 plus. So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
and that's okay because I
Yeah.
know what I'm putting out there is because I'm excited and I'm happy about it. And if it can touch just one person that could either motivate them or do something that they never thought was possible before, I'm okay with that because I'm happy and I'm excited. And honestly, that almost just gives me fuel and puts it almost like that extra affirmation in the universe that,
Yes.
okay, things are happening. So when I do hit those roadblocks and I hit those hard times and I hit the times where I'm just like, wow, like, is this really happening? Like, can things get any worse? That gives me that extra boost to be like, okay, well, I did this. So this
Mhm.
may just be one roadblock, but I still have a journey that's ahead of me that's waiting for me for me to accomplish all that I have to offer.
Mhm. And I would like to add two things. One is definitely yes. When I at least like I feel that well, yeah. So the first thing is actually the shortest thing is that one, we definitely are the types to have all of our notifications be on like 600 plus, but when we do get back online, we're always like
Yeah,
like
exactly. I'm catching up. I'm catching up from
yes.
what I
So I'm
missed.
like, wait a second. Yes, here's a win that we're gonna give ourselves credit
Yes.
for sure. And two, we're also very much so people that, and I can wholeheartedly say this is like how we just are, where we also see the people and the members in our community when they win that also goes like, we won too, because that
Yes.
just gives you that little motivation to
Oh,
just keep
yes,
it
it
going.
does.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would say that for me though, it's a very weird thing, but I feel like one of the things that like is my real fear behind being too loud about my wins is that I get nervous about success too. Because okay, yeah, there, like, I remember a time, I've talked to you about this before, where it got a little weird for me where other people were kind of like, I see you winning, therefore that means I need to ask you questions. And I'm in terms of like, I want X, Y, and Z from you, not necessarily like I'm here to champion you. It's like, you're not even acknowledging me, but you're asking me for my, that's kind of crazy, but okay. You know what I mean? And also, I think that for me, one of my fears that, of course, I'm working through is also that thing where I do feel in line with what I was saying previously, where people have their expectations of me and therefore they're like, I need you to continue doing this. And sometimes it does feel a little overwhelming. So it's more of a thing of like navigating through and versus like, and not feeling like I have to always be at 100 for
Yeah.
this other person who like I get to know what, like 1% of the time, if I even know who you are.
Yes,
But like,
exactly.
so it is one of those things too that I think might be like two of the root things into why I've
Ex-
been before, because we're going to
Yes.
speaking it into existence,
Existence.
but like before was scared of being too loud.
Yeah, and honestly, they're both very like valid reasons in general. And it's more so that it's almost kind of like too, even with getting back into it and things of that manner, it's almost like you're giving yourself permission to do what you can when you can. So when you have the
Mm-hmm.
times and you're not, and people are like messaging or whatever, no, you can say you can keep messaging it.
Oh, right.
This is like you're doing what like the ideal of the beauty of when not only you have your own brand and you have your own business, but you as a person, is it's on
Mm-hmm.
your time schedule. It's like
Yeah.
it's when you can because and you're not the only one. I'm sure there are other people who feel the same way because they feel like, okay, well, if I continue this and say, for example, if I go 2 weeks or 3 weeks and I may not be as consistent because, life happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get back into, you're like, oh, what are people going to think? People are going to think whatever they want to think. Let's be honest. People are
It's
going
not
to,
even just think. It's like, what are
it's,
people emailing me about?
yeah, people are going to think it. They're going to email it. They're going to be
Right.
vocal about it.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I've been doing what I'm doing, which is I'm living my life. I'm running my
Mm-hmm.
business. Like you don't have to be on all the time to be present. It's
Yeah.
just the ideal of being there. And it's also too, I kind of say like this because you're not the only one. I think there's other people who were saying something similar similar in terms of like having those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And the beauty about of when you post and the beauty about being present on social media, it's you. You're like,
Yeah.
you set your own time, you set
Yeah.
your own schedule, you may be present. Sometimes people take a month off, and they just decompress for the month and they
Yeah.
pause and they reflect. They have their time. Guess
Yeah.
what? It's their time because they're doing it so that they can come back and be a better version, be have a full cup,
Mm-hmm.
be rejuvenated and things of that manner. Because when you have your own business and when you're running your personal life and family life, it gets exhausting.
Yes.
So it's like I'm be present and I'm be as intentional and as authentic as possible. But when I'm not there, it's not just to post stuff just so that something is being posted, because
Yep.
that's losing the me and that's losing the authentic part of it. Like if I was just going to post just to post, then what's the purpose of it? Because that's not me. And I'm just doing it just so you can see something come up there. Like, no, if you're going to see something, it's because it's something that's personal to me. It's something that I want to be out there. It's something that
Right.
it means something. If it doesn't mean anything, then what's the purpose?
Okay. Yes. And I feel like even just down to leadership as a whole too, like this is very important
Yes.
because so very quick, but like Dev's someone in Dev's entrepreneurial circle, I'll say it like that because I'm like I don't want to give all the information out. But like they were even talking last week with him about the fact that it was they noticed that even, for example, on LinkedIn, now they've become an authority because of a lot of the things that they've been posting out and a lot of their thoughts that they were like putting out into the ethos, not understanding that this is where they would be. And
Yes.
so for now, like with them and going on their journey, like they're like, I have a whole bunch of like people who are lined up and interested because
Yes.
of the, as you were saying too, the kind of quality content that I was posting out and
Mhm.
also like the information that I was providing for free.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that comes with like celebrating and things like that because for them they wouldn't have been able to do that if they did not put it out into the interwebs and things like
Yes.
that. By the way,
And
each time I keep saying interwebs I'm like, man, I sound old as hell. Go ahead.
oh, but no, you're right though, because it's the same thing as too. It's also one of those things, especially when it comes to platforms, especially also with LinkedIn,
Mhm.
that you're if you're not posting intentionally, or if you're not posting for a purpose or for something like that, people can see that. Like you have to realize, like we're human beings for a reason. Like we're not machines, we're human beings, so we can tell
Mhm.
when something just look like you just put something together just to put it out there, or you're just
Yeah.
trying to sell somebody something, everything like at a certain point, and then that's when people lose interest. Versus like I'm if I'm posting, it's because it's intentionally I have something I want to say or something things that matter. And the crazy part about it is even just the other day, I got a message for someone who said, "Oh, can I book a consultation with you?" And I've never seen anything from this person, like,
Mhm.
but they messaged me, and I was like, because again, and if life is happening, you don't hear anything from me. Like it's like you
Yes.
may hear something if because something come up, but if life is happening, it's not like a mask I can put on and just be like, okay, let me, like you're never gonna get like a fake like, oh, okay, everything's great, everything's
Yeah.
butterflies when I'm like over here and I'm just like, okay, like everything's on fire. Like that's not
Mhm.
happening. You're either gonna get the everything's on fire type of post, or you're just gonna be like, I'm gonna recap you when I get
Yeah.
back into
When
my
I'm back.
ether, and then I'll let you know what just happened and how I
Yeah.
overcome it. But
Yeah.
you're not going to get butterflies and smileys, and then I'm over here just like that's
Yeah.
not going to happen. But that's
Yeah.
just me, and that's just because I run my business, I run my life as
Mhm.
intentional as possible. And that same thing goes for us, even if I'm hanging out with people, whatever. I can't put on a fake smile and be first off, none of my people,
Right.
whatever, even they'll be looking at me like, yo, what's wrong?
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
like, because you can see, I'll be like,
Because it's like our personalities really change when something's not right.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like,
like the
okay.
energy is off, the
Mm-hmm.
conversation is real short. It
Mm-hmm.
looks like I'm talking, but no one's listening.
Yeah. Or it looks like I'm struggle busting the whole entire
Exactly. And
way.
then I'm
Yeah.
over here just like, I'm okay. And then they're
Yeah.
excuse you, stop and rewind.
Hold on. Can I just say that one of the most disrespectful, well, it's not disrespectful because I find it funny, but like things is a lot of the times whenever I'm like this, everyone around me goes directly to, okay, now we need to get some food or now we need to get something. And I'm just like, but yes, but
Yes, but that's because that's the comfort. That's like the comfort behind it. You're like, okay, we're like, it's either food or drinks, one or the other.
yes, yes. It's like which way
It's
we're gonna go.
it's food or drinks because you need like that good comfort part, and then it's like, okay, now I'm gonna need the tea. Let me tell me what's
Hmm.
happening, tell
Hmm.
me what's going on because now you got the comfort food and the comfort drinks. Now what's next?
Yeah, and again, that goes back to community, meaning like the people around us
Yes,
know, so they're like,
exactly.
we need to bring her like some sort of gift,
Exactly,
like, so
because
that we can go on.
you know your people. Now, if you
Yes,
struggling and your people over here talking about, okay, well, let's go read a book, and I'm over here just like, what's that going? Like, I'm over here struggling. Reading a book ain't gonna solve my problem. I need to talk about what's going. That's
yes,
not my people. My people don't know me.
yeah.
You
It's
over
like
here
I need
talking
to put
about
on my jammy, go on the
exactly.
couch. We need to
It's
discuss.
he's like, no, like not even like, okay, let's lay on the couch, PJs, and a movie, and then we'll probably talk through half of it anyway, because
Yep,
that's what we do.
yep.
But you over here like, okay, let's have some quiet time with a book. Like that's not
That's
no.
yeah,
No,
not at
no.
all. It's
So
like
I
because
can
now
take
the
it back so
thoughts
I
are
can
in my
be
head
more
and the book is in my
so
head. No,
so I can be more in my head than I'm already am. Like
like no, there's no point to that at
not at
all.
all.
But no, I do feel like this is one of those like convos that is very needed because, like you were saying, there are so many reasons on the spectrum as to why like people don't actually like just like celebrate
Yes.
themselves, and including like the reasons that we already said as far as
Mhm.
like why we don't. But
Mhm.
there is that gem in just being out loud, saying things, and even if you're wrong, honestly, if somebody's gonna let you know. You might want to like mute that, but
Yeah.
still, like
You're like,
you're still
I'm
saying
glad you were
something.
very confident in it, but
Hey,
you may
okay,
want to just go back to the books and just check it a little bit. But but
yeah,
we appreciate you. And
you
also
know.
and
I mean,
also
I have been told maybe once or like once, if we're gonna cap it at once, where it's like you are very confidently wrong. So it's like, yeah, but like confident is the
that
first
part.
word, right?
And also too, like sometimes I'll even when I try to be present on social media and I'll try to like carve out time to be there. Sometimes when I see people doing some things or there are things that I'm like, oh, this is amazing, people need to hear, I'll even like reshare it, repost it,
Yeah, I
and things
love
of
doing
that manner because I'm like, some of them are people who I like know, and some people who are just people who I've been watching and that we, have the I should say the mutual social media where you communicate, you may throw like a comment here or a like there, things that manner, may not know them, but when there are certain things I'm like, oh wow, that's amazing, I'll share it. It takes absolutely no time for me to show, oh wow, this is amazing, let me reshare, repost it so that other people in my community can see also what you're doing, what you did, and just to be able to appreciate the work that you're doing.
And also, like, before we leave our awesome discussion, but like, I would want to say that if there is someone that you like being the viewer and us too, like, but like, see on social media that we do appreciate, yes, the same thing as you were saying, like, just like support them, because you never know who you're helping. And
Yes.
especially as a TikTok girly, I like
That is
who
her.
loves to,
Yes. Yes.
yeah, no, but like, because like you see that every single day there is someone on that, like online, that is trying to go from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So it's like the least you could do is like their content if it's actually good, or if you see that there is effort behind it,
Yes.
and or like leave them, like we were saying before,
Mhm.
fire emoji, like,
Exactly. You can
it's like
support it.
don't. Mhm.
Is that no, you're good. I was about to say just support it in the way that you
Yeah.
can. And also like and just from us talking to like some of the mindset shifts that has happened, it comes over time, it comes with
Yeah.
community, it comes with support. But also not everyone has that same mindset. So there are some
Yeah.
people who look at how many times people comment or like or
Take yourself
even
out that.
repost and things of that manner. So if something actually like speaks to you and it moves, it takes all you're already looking at it in the first place. It takes all but 1 or 2 seconds to do something
Right.
because it could also go a long way for that person too. And it could just change up their mentality and their mindset to make them more motivated to do more things that they enjoy doing.
Yeah.
So just keep all that in mind. Like you're like, I always like, I'm like, you're already looking at it. You watched this entire video from beginning to end, and then it takes less time to either like, comment, or reshare than it did to
Mhm.
watch the video. You might as
Mhm.
well.
And that's also too one of the, like, going back to what you were saying before, where we've talked about like the people in your community that are not like actively like, they're screaming that they're supporting you, but like that goes back to why that is important, because like you said, like this does help somebody do that one more day, in terms of being like, fine, I'll do another content piece. Like, because like, at least like I'm not doing it in vain. And even if it's, for example, and like, that's the only like that they have that month, that's still a lot of motivation, because as we were saying before too, there is that footprint analysis, like part of it where it's kind of like maybe by the 60th video, that's the one that actually means something. That's the one that blows up. Yeah. And the people start going back to the first video because they're like, oh, wait a second, let me get to know a little bit more about like this person that like I'm viewing. So
yeah. And also awesome too, and the last thing too, before we go, but it's actually funny, and like I don't do this, and I know there are some people who do that. For some reason, some people actually don't like to be the first one to like or comment on a video, which I never understood it. I never got it. Like if I'm looking at something, I'm not looking at numbers. I'm not looking at, oh, did someone like it? Oh, I can't be the first one to like it. Oh, did someone comment? I can like it never made sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense to me. So sometimes people will be waiting for someone else to be the first one to do something before they do it. And I'll be honest with you, that part, if I'm looking at something, it takes more time for me to be like, oh, did someone like this? No, I'm gonna just like it, I'm gonna comment, and I'm gonna move on to the next next thing, call it a day.
Like very heavy emphasis on that. And especially I feel like that goes back to like there are a lot of people who are just, on the sidelines, and there are doers, and it's like we're over here like, if there is that one like that you have, it's from me, baby. Like, exactly. Like remember that. Like it doesn't hurt you or do anything, like except for just give the other person motivation, like, and have the ability to like keep going forward. Like why wouldn't you want to like celebrate somebody else who is at least bold enough to go from being scared, being in their head, being shy, to outwardly putting out like whatever they're doing, whether it's like a win or whether it's something new that they're trying out, or even, a lot of the times it is like trying to grow and figure yourself out while you're online. It's like, let the person celebrate themselves. Like if it's not hurting you, don't yuck somebody's yum.
No, exactly. And also if it's not for you, then just move on. You don't have to put anything like negative about it or X, Y, and Z. Like if it's not for you, it's okay. Not everything out there is for everyone, but just move on. Like it takes more time to be negative in something than just to move on and find something that is what you like. And if you're having a bad day, guess what? Just cut the phone off and don't comment at all, because literally like honestly, this is like it's enough stress in the world on a regular day that you don't need to do any of the other negative stuff. It's like if you're not having a good day, keep it moving. Find something that is your cup of tea. Find something that makes you happy. You don't have to do it if it's not, you don't have to like it at all if it's not yours, but you don't have to also be negative at the same time.
Right. And like I 100% agree with like, what is the purpose of putting negativity out in the world when you don't even need to, like even if the person is like, let me hear your thoughts, like maybe you shouldn't, like, that excludes you.
Exactly. That's anyone who doesn't have like negative, that you can have opposed thoughts, but you don't have to have negative. There's a difference.
And if you're going to say something that is not in the realm of what the person would like to hear, at least let it be constructive.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, this is crap. Like, it's like,
and then move on. You're just like, what was the point? Like, it took, like you spent time to write this and there's still nothing coming from it.
Energy, girl. Energy, time. Like, why?
Like, do you feel any better? I don't think so, because you probably did something on like 3 other videos that you just wanted to do. So like, no.
Yeah. And I've seen that on people's things, and I'm just like what was the reason? What did that? Do you feel better about you? Like,
and I feel like you don't feel better about you.
It's like, must suck to suck, but absolutely not. That part. But I think that actually we should leave off with definitely talking to everyone about how we're going to do our best to just keep showing up.
Yeah.
It's not going to be consistent, but we're doing our thing, right?
It's a work in progress, but we're going to show up as consistent as we can to get to where we want to be. And that is also always to motivate and to just encourage people to do what you can, and make sure that if you're not going to celebrate yourself, who is? So you might as well show up for yourself.
Right. Exactly. If not you, then who? Like, honestly. And as far as I'm concerned, just as we take like some like breaks to get ourselves a little treat whenever we do something good, okay, post about it
Oh,
too.
listen, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
And if you don't feel comfortable with like going deep into why you're celebrating yourself, just still do something that at least means something to you. So, for example, even going back to that like little Starbucks cup like thing, maybe that you took a picture of like the Starbucks and like you don't have a caption, for example, but you know what that means to you, and you know that
Mhm.
that was like something
Mhm.
that like meant success, and maybe to somebody else it's like, dang, I haven't had Starbucks in a minute.
Exactly that part.
Yeah, so each thing you do means something different to someone else, but at least it's out there
Or
versus like,
even if you did something like that, you could be like, this was a very much needed today. Boom.
yes,
Like right to the point, this is what you needed. You don't
right,
need to know why, if, answer, or buts. It's none of your
right,
business, but it's what you needed. And someone else is going to watch it, aka probably me, and be like, oh, I
yes.
haven't had Starbucks in a long time. I think I want some Starbucks because that's like my happy place. So okay.
Yeah, and yeah, like you were saying, it's enough to be like, mind your business, but
Yes.
also support me, please.
Exactly. You're like,
No,
you're like, this was very much
respectfully.
needed, and this message is going to anyone else who may need it too.
Meanwhile, the other person's like, yeah, it's just hot outside. So yeah, I just need this
Exactly.
message.
They're like, I just need something to cool me down because it's very hot out here. And listen, guess what? Either way you look at it, it touched somebody. I don't care how it touched them,
Hey,
what motivated them, or what
you know,
they got out of it. But listen,
hey,
it touched somebody.
yes. So I mean, like that kind of wraps up today's episode where we clearly, unapologetically reclaimed the power of being seen and made it clear your wins aren't whispers, they're headlines, okay? So if this conversation reminded you that shrinking serves no one, hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss a moment of radical confidence and real talk. Because as you already know, your voice belongs on the front of the room, okay? Or at the front of the room, same thing. But while you're here, drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know which topics or founders you'd love to see next featured on Authentic Ambitions. And until next time, keep building, keep growing, and stay inspired. Bye.